Hello, FPB, and all the poets and blossoms out there, and to all our viewers worldwide. Welcome to our blossoming show, The MEBS, the Mother Eagle Blossom Show. A pleasant good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world. We have tonight another writer from India. She's a mother of two boys aged 12 and 13. Her first poem was written in her mother tongue, Bengali, at age 7 on chess at her mother's request. She wrote throughout her school and college years and was published in Quest, a magazine published by Writers Forum. After marriage, she took a long break from poetry for more than 15 years. In 2013, after accepting a few invites to poetry groups on Facebook, she returned to her love for poetry and writing again. In 2020, she submitted a poem, All or Nothing, to Spill Words, which got accepted. Since then, she has been published in online anthologies like The Poet's Christmas, Childhood, Faith, Friendship and Adversity, Anthology, and Poetica 2 and 3 by Clarendon Press, among others, as well as in many online journals. Her debut collection of 50 poems arrived there She was published in May 2021, and this November, her dream of becoming a short story writer was fulfilled as her collection of short stories in between poses was published. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Miss Amrita Valan. Hello, dear. How are you?
Hi, Helen. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. So I'm happy that you are here.
I'm honored to
Unexpected.
be with you. I'm really, really honored to be with you today.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's my pleasure also to have you. And when did you start writing, Amrita?
As I said, I started writing at the age of 7 because of my mother. She wanted to keep me and my brother occupied. So she just said, write a poem about, we were playing chess. So she said, write a poem about chess. So I asked my mother, do you want me to write it in English or Bengali? And my mother always wanted me to keep mother tongue alive. So she said to write in Bengali. And you know, in Bengali, chess is called daba. And daba rhymes with baba, which means father. So those were my two first lines of poetry. Khelte amar baba, bhalobashen daba. I don't remember the whole poem now.
But can you imagine at the age of 7, you can write a poem?
I wrote about 10 lines. I don't remember, but I always will remember those first 2 lines. Khelte amar baba, bhalobashen daba. That he loves to play chess, my daddy. That was the beginning.
That's it. Chess. The title is Chess.
Yes, and which in Bengali is daba. Chess is called daba. So that was the poem I wrote, and my mother was, I like it, she said. And that was, you know, I realized this is a way to please my mother. I was very, you know, I was like a puppy dog. I was very devoted to my mummy. So whatever would please her, you know, so I started writing poems about India, my motherland. If there was a storm or a rainy evening, I started writing poems about that. And the only person I would show them to, I would go, my mummy is busy in the kitchen cooking. I said, Mummy, I have another poem. Mama, I have another poem. And that was, you know, like, I have a debt of gratitude that whatever she was doing, you know, she would stop doing that. And she would listen.
Very young, at your naive age, you can write.
Yes, I started only for my mother. I really owe her this debt because whatever I did not show anybody else, But I never failed to show my mother, and she would have, tears in her eyes if she liked something a lot. She would say, make a note of it, keep a diary. Those diaries, I have lost them now. I don't know where they are, but I still remember, and I think, when I am bringing up my children, when they come to me to show me something, I must be patient. I must remember her example, it's really creditable the way we don't realize how adults make time for us as children when they have so many other work to do and they stop everything just to listen to you. I try to emulate that. When I'm
Wow.
dealing with my children, they also write. I encourage them. So that is how I
They're
started.
alive, still alive.
No. My mommy passed away in 2019. It's
Sorry.
only when you lose your mother, you realize what a mother is.
Yes.
You, that's it. But
Sorry.
I would not be a poet if she was not, in the early years, if she hadn't made me value, like, yes, you should write. You should write about your emotions, your experiences. Like, I heard from my teacher in class 5 about northern lights. That phenomenon near the North Pole, the aurora borealis, how it shimmers. And just hearing her description, I wrote a poem called Northern Lights. I think if you're in a house where you're adults, your parents encourage you, this happens,
Yes,
like
she encouraged you, and she had a strong,
she did not say that you have to get good marks in studies, you have to do well. It's like because I was left free to, do what I like doing, maybe that is why I write poetry. Uh,
she really believed your skill in writing. That's why. And, um,
yes.
it molded you to be a great writer. I can see your work, and it's excellent.
She gave me the freedom to be, like to express my emotional self. I just remember those days and realized without, that sort of parenting, I might have, suppressed that side completely.
I can feel
That's,
you now. I can feel you. I
yes.
understand.
I remember, that she showed that she's proud of me. It's sometimes,
Yeah,
parents are proud, but they don't know how to show it. They
yeah, I
We have
know.
difficulties as adults, sometimes we're busy and I'll say, oh, show later, but then I remember, no, if you do that, you might be suppressing or killing some talent your child has. I remember my mother and, like I keep trying to repair any of those damages that I do.
Yes. So that's the best memory.
Best, really, really.
And who are your inspirations?
Do you mean in real life, or do you mean as a poetic role models? Because if you say poets, then I read almost every poet. I don't, select or cherry pick because I like emotional poetry. I like witty poetry. I like women poets who empower other women. I remember I sat in the USIS library and I read Maya Angelou and Adrienne Rich. And that's feminist poetry for you, And I said, wow, I was so happy. I was so glad to have been exposed to them. But then on the other hand, like I will read E. Cummings and his, that romantic flourish of his language. So that is also then if you say about in early childhood, I think, when we are children, the Indian syllabus of the curriculum, it exposes us to Wordsworth, the romantic poets, Byron, Samuel Taylor Coleridge. I found him so exciting, so adventurous.
Yes,
Those rhyme
that's
of
the
the
writer.
ancient
Yeah,
river, those little
adventurous.
water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Like we went around the house reciting Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright, William Blake. So the poems that exposed to, those are the poets. As a child, you have little control over what
Yes.
you read. And then when I was doing my master's, I decided, I want to explore American side of literature also. So one of my, I took up is American literature studies, the film
Ah,
studies. So, yeah, because I wanted, like we are taught in a certain way. I wanted to experience more of it. So that was
Yes.
it. All the beat poets were very fascinating. Allen Ginsberg, then
That is
Willie
something that
Carlisle.
you really love to.
Yeah, I
So
love reading. I just love reading, and everything. I will even start reading advertisements at the back of the if a bus is passing by, I will read that. So everything,
I can
and
feel
sometimes,
that.
yeah, I feel like when you read everything, there's a more chance of discovering who you truly are, rather than if you start I am a woman and so I will read feminist poetry only, or I am romantic by nature so I'll only read love poetry. No, I I feel you should read, even something like just read it and then keep an open
Yes,
mind. That's it.
true. Because reading will bring us to places.
I read limericks also. I like crude limericks,
Oh,
everything under the sun I will read.
that's nice. So, are you also fond of participating contests?
Yeah. I do. If it comes across, my biggest problem probably, Helen, is I'm not tech savvy. So I often miss an announcement or I come across it after the competition is over. This is a big recurring problem with me. But if it is serendipitous, if I have come to find out about a competition on the day, I join. I just, you'll see in the passion of poetry.
For sure, you gathered a lot of, accolades, awards.
uh, Thank you. Some, not lots, but some I have gotten. Oh
Yeah,
boy, I'm
really.
very happy to get those, very honored. Because I know we get an idea of who we are as you, and I meet every day brilliant poets. I get exposed to wonderful poetry. So I find myself so small in the scheme of poetry, so very way below. And when I get an accolade, it's so nice. It really, encourages you to do more, write more. Like
Yes, that's true. It
if I get
motivates
this,
us. It
yeah.
motivates us. But actually, that is not really our purpose in participating a contest. We also want to express ourselves and we want to be developed.
The topic, if it interests. I mean, there are some there are certain topics and you look at it and you want to write something. I think for passion of poetry I got betrayal. That is something, it really intrigues me, so I wrote about that. And
Yeah.
maybe there'll be another topic and I might not have connection to that topic. So like when
And
I
it's
was
fun there in the passion of poetry. It's fun there.
yeah, every Monday, that contest that you have every Monday. So I try to
That's
scan for
true.
those. Yeah, and I love it because it's in the comment section. So it's like kind of what you think on the spur of the moment, you just polish it up a bit and present that.
That's true. So,
It is, like when you get an opportunity to express yourself, when poets like you have a platform where you allow us to express ourselves. That helps us to develop, that helps us to hone our skills also. It and it like exposes us to many other poets, and you say, hey, there's so many wonderful poets nowadays. It even
yes,
10 years
yes,
back, we were not exposed to that many poets as now.
yes.
I mean, discovered wonderful poets in these groups, passion of poetry,
Yeah, we
and
already have, I think, more than
collective.
40,600 members. And can you imagine that? And yeah,
I
it's
mean, I feel like my Facebook friend list has increased to 900 is a cause of panic for me. How do I handle 9? I used to have 300 friends till 2020. And in the last 1.5 years, I have 900 friends. I don't know
yeah,
how.
that's true. Our friends are,
Like,
increasing in numbers too.
I mean, some of them, are memorable as poets. And some of them are by association. I've come across them, they're very friendly, or we are in the same group for a long time. Yes, but
Yes, that's true.
it is also difficult to keep track of such an immense news feed, don't you think? That so you get to, really, I have to pace myself because I also have 2 children in my household to run. So I have to really pace myself. But I admire, how do you manage to, be so involved and out there,
Yes.
organizing contests for us?
a lot of things to do. But
I love the Passion of Poetry certificates. I just love the color schemes. If I get one, I love, exhibiting it on my wall because the color schemes are so beautiful, like.
yeah. I also make certificates when I, have a contest. It's me who create the certificates. Before it was Eureka, but then she's so busy right now. So I tried making my certificates for the winners. So who
That's
are your
something.
friends? Who are your close friends now in poetry?
Not really. No, my
Can you name?
Facebook friends, my virtual friends are all poets. The people
Yes,
I
can
have
you name
met,
some? In the passion of poetry.
yes, Passion of Poetry,
Maybe I
Anita,
know them also.
yes, of course, Seema Sharma, then Eve Marie, and
Exactly.
yeah. I was wondering how to pronounce that actually. So, then, yeah, I think in the last 1 year, a lot of poet friends. Like right
Gita.
now, my mind is going a little blank. I'm trying to remember Dennis
Gita.
Brown,
Gita.
Prasad, yeah, Geeta Mohanty, then
Mohante.
yeah,
Sonita.
Eureka, then of course Christine Tabaka, then
Yes.
so many, so many. I
So
mean,
many.
so many. And wonderful poetesses. I think there's Susan Joyner.
Sound.
There are
You know her?
know her in the sense I love her poetry, so I often end up commenting on her poems. And I think when she commented on one of my poems, it's so
Sure.
on. She liked my poem.
Because
So that gave me a high, and made me want to like read it.
she's a publisher of my book,
Yeah,
Susan Joyner's Town.
I thought
And
she's
we're
so.
really, really
She's
good
also
friends.
a
I
publisher.
love her intensely and she loves me as
Yeah, but
well.
she's also a publisher. I thought she's a poet, but
She's a
she's also.
publisher.
Okay, I didn't know that. I don't know. I'm very vague. Um,
We've been friends for I think 6 years.
oh my God. I think all my poetry friends are mostly 2020
Hi
onwards.
Susan, love you. I will show this a bit this interview to her.
There is an old group of poetry friends that I've had, like from when I first started writing poetry. That was maybe 2013, 14. And from 2020, when I started trying to get published, that is when, I think Susan I met during that time. I did not know her
Yeah,
before.
Susan Joyner's
Maybe
Town
1 year.
before.
Yeah. Maybe for 1 year. I know all of you for maybe 1 year now. Maybe I think so. Sometime around maybe 2020. Susan, I think for 1 year, last 1 year, I know all of you. Before that, I don't think I knew all of you. Did I know, Helen? I don't think so. In the last one.
Because we're having a group before United Global Sisterhood. So Eva also is my longtime friend. Together with
I did. I think I knew Eva a little longer. A bit longer because I was in inner circles, that group. So
Alan
I think
Johnson.
but this. After I joined Passion of Poetry, maybe I came to know many more poets. But before that, Eva, I think I knew a little bit before that. If I'm not mistaken, I knew her before. But just Eva, I cannot. No, I can't recall.
Dwayne, and also.
Yes, wonderful poet. I love reading his poems. I only came to know him this year.
Okay. Alan Johnson used to narrate my poem since 2017, 2016, 2017.
You know how I came to know Alan Johnson? Through Eva, thanks to her. She said that, he would like to do 3 of your poems as a promo kind of a thing. And I was so grateful because very frankly, I wouldn't have been able to pay him. And I know that he's highly sought after. So I was very, very, very grateful. And it was mind blowing. I mean, what he did with my poetry, I wouldn't have imagined. I wouldn't have imagined my very mediocre poems could look that good at You know, like
I will show you our collaboration
he's one of the
with
people,
Susan Joy.
he's one of those people I look up to him because that there's a level of brilliance, you know, with I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
He's got
Amazing
this
and very
often,
humble, down to earth.
often, you know, wherever I have commented, you'll say I'm very effusive. If I feel someone is worth admiring or praising, I will, you know, the sky is the limit. I have very like I call him God's gift to poets and poetry, the way he
That's true.
is. Yes.
Hello, dear. Can you
You
excuse
know,
me
and you know, in
for
the
a while?
end,
For a while, can you excuse me for a while?
yes,
I'll just
of
get
course.
back.
Okay, okay. I'll also do the same.
Back now.
Hi, I'm back also.
Yeah.
Check on my children once. What are they up to? And I heard them. You know, I was thinking, you know, maybe if I don't tell them, they'll get so loud that you already have a little problem with my voice. It's not loud enough. They had just started a very raucous game in the other room. So I went into them, shh, keep it down.
So, writing a book, is it your long time dream?
Yeah, no, not really. And again, yes, also both. I mean, I did not have any dreams of writing at all. I
Yeah.
just didn't, I was
It
like,
just
you know,
came. It just came
it's,
unexpectedly.
I'll tell you what happened in 2014 when I just, you know, got invited to a few poetry groups and I started writing. I still remember there was a lady, a poetess who called me Namaste, poetess Amrita Valan. And I felt so flattered to be called poetess, you know. Like I just think of myself as a very simple, ordinary person, and you know, I am a poetess. It felt so good, you know. And then I write. I did that, and whatever happens, you know, I keep writing, and say once a week I submit to my poetry groups, and like you said, I participate in a few challenges, but no ambitions at all. But then there was this. I think it was Bernard who told me, "Do you want to submit a short story?" So I said, "Okay." I'd never written a story before, and I submitted a story and he accepted it. Then I submitted another, he accepted it. And then I pushed it out of my mind that I don't do stories, I only do poems. And then, you know, one of my friends, she told me, Cynthia, I think she said that your stories are good enough to be published in magazines. Why don't you explore this avenue? I did not. I was convinced I am poetess Amrita Valan because some friends had, you know, like, you know how they're very polite, you know, the West. They say namaste and all that, and
Yes.
it felt so flattering. I cannot express those feelings, you know.
Yeah,
I was
I
just very,
understand.
you know, suddenly exposed to a whole world of other poets and poetesses, and they're accepting me as one of them. Then again, I wrote two stories for another editor who wanted supernatural stories. Now, you don't know about me, Helen, but I have a supernatural side also. You know, I love thinking about ghosts,
Really?
goblins. Yeah, the dark, the occult. So I wrote a story called A Halloween Tale, which is an in between pauses. It is about a young girl being inducted into one of the satanic cults. You know how innocence can be tempted and what brings her back. Okay. Then another story I had to write. He liked my supernatural story. So he asked next year for one more. So imagine I was writing just one story a year, only if somebody told me to. But I still did not think that, you know, I can be a story writer. I never thought of it. Yeah. Last year, when while submitting poems, and when Arifdachi came out, my that debut collection of my 50 poems, you know, I thought, well, what if I try the same thing, but this time with stories instead of a collection of poems? I have so far got 4 stories to my credit. like 2 supernatural tales, and those 2 stories are, I think, In God's Continent, about a little girl, who was suffering from a disease, and another story that was about, my interaction with an evangelist who was also my brother's very good friend. And I take bits and pieces of real life, but it is not true to that person only. I amalgamate. I take various separate experiences. So it is not really, I'm not writing about a person as such. I'm creating a persona. The person I'm writing about is a combination of 5 or 6 people, but it is true to life, but just not true to any one person's life. Obviously, because that would not be fair also. No, I'm not a human recorder. I should not use my friends as guinea pigs. So, but I wrote just 4 stories, and then last year after May, when Arifidharchi got published, from June onwards I started working, and like a little child in me said, you are born on 17th October, write 17 stories. That will be auspicious.
You're
So
gifted. You're gifted.
When I had 17 stories, I approached a publisher so that I get published. So thank you so much.
Can you tell us about your
blessings are from above? Because till 2019, I was not motivated. Then, it's like my father told that I wish your mother had seen you in print. She used to encourage you so much. And I wish she had seen you in print. And, I went home, and that like kind of thought stayed with me, that I didn't do it to make my mother proud, but my father wants it. So maybe, I believe in ancestral blessings, Helen. I don't believe in personal capacity. I don't think it is me who is doing it, because I was not tech savvy.
Maybe she's still guiding you until now.
My interaction with you could be because of her also, because I don't know. I know you for 6 months or something. And how did we meet? Everything, I think. I strongly, if you read my poems, you'll see I strongly believe that some things were meant to be, and it happens. It's not.
You're not planning it, but it happens.
It's because maybe it was meant to be. That was your destiny, and also that would be the best fit for you in this universe. Because had you done something else, you would not have been. It wouldn't feel right. So sometimes when I'm very upset with what I am myself, that, I'm so tech unsavvy, I can hardly manage my own Google account. My sons help sometimes to join a meeting. I said, but had it not been for that, maybe you would not have feelings or been able to, there may be a reason for why I am technically a bit, challenged or something, because maybe I thought I focus on something else beyond that. And there are good angels, they come to my aid when I'm unable to do. I recorded 2 stories for Alan, and I don't know how to record stories or something. So I just said, can I just do a voice memo and send? He said yes. And somehow with full faith, that he's such a well-meaning soul. I had full faith. Normally I would feel so shy, voice memo, will it sound good? Other people have studios and whatnot. I just recorded and sent it off. I'm sure it will work out. He'll take care. I have that immense faith in the goodness of others. If it makes sense, that, and he is so good. I've come to know about that he's so good. So I felt for any other person, I would have hesitated. If I send a voice memo, I won't sound good, because it is not, in a controlled studio environment recording.
Because, you are not aware that you are excellent. But people observe that.
My sons are astonished. They know mommy is very shy and unable. She'll stutter. And I just pressed the voice memo, recorded my whole story first take, and sent it off to him. He'll take care. I don't have to worry. So that's sometimes I get, I feel that this is the guidance that I'm getting from above. Otherwise, how did that happen?
Oh, I think so. I believe in that.
I believe especially in that, because of maybe my mother's passing in 2019.
Yeah. And she's still with you. Believe it.
Yeah, that is what my family believes. They feel a part
she's
of
listening us. So she's very proud of you. Anyway, can you tell us more about your book? In between, what do you call this?
Pause.
In between,
I named it In Between Pauses and
in
Consultation with
between.
my editor because we were going back and forth what the names would be. So I said, see, these stories are not highbrow intellectual fiction. It is more like, incidents that happen in our day-to-day lives that leave an impression on us, and they may not be very significant. But why do you remember something years later and other things you don't? Like I remember when I had just finished my honors exam in English,
Mhm.
I decided to get involved in a play, and I was the costume designer. I was assisting with designing costumes, and I get
Really?
bits. Yes, yes, yes. I was, because I like studying period pieces, so that required costumes for a certain period of British society. So I felt I could contribute my knowledge, my ideas, the creative input. I'm not very good with stitching. So yeah, but I could say this material would look good, this color, if it is a woman from the working class, or say,
Oh,
like she was from a red light district, say, so she would be wearing, this red and black lace. It will, like the dangerous femme fatale, those, my creative inputs
you
I was
only
putting.
design. You're so creative.
I got very, very involved in the play, and I remembered, bits and pieces, flashes. I noticed people, maybe, the characters, how they play out, how people react. And then, when I remember those, and when I write stories, sometimes the past, comes and occupies a certain character. One character is a bit, shy and reserved, but yet brimming with feelings inside, and another character is completely extroverted, like that. So I went to this, and then the way the dynamics of their interaction. So these things, they leave us like kind of a, they leave us with a impression, right? That impression. So I was striving to create like ordinary people. Uh, they have, maybe it is not going to be the ending and defining love of their lives, but yes, young people often fall in love, and that comes to nothing. The future is yet to be, and there's lots and lots, but yet it leaves an impression, doesn't it? So from that point of view of a young woman growing up in India, a urban Indian woman, I wrote a few love stories. You know me, I have the supernatural thing also. So I wrote a few supernatural stories.
Yeah,
It
I
is
asked
like,
why you are describing that supernatural story. Why you are
yes,
describing that way?
supernatural stories are, like, it's like, every, I have grown up reading Agatha Christie's, 10 Little Niggers. And of course, they changed the name. It's not politically correct now. So they changed the name of the story. But the thing is, I remember I'm reading it. It's a rainy afternoon. I'm alone at home. And the house is slowly growing dark, and the curtains start swaying. And I was
Mhm.
like, I can feel it, that is there a presence behind me? Should I move the curtains? And I realized that the thrill of the supernatural is precisely that there is something unknown beyond the veil, that there is more, that the material concrete world is there, but there is something far more, grander or more ominous. And so that is one of my interests also. Then also, I do a lot of thinking. I ruminate on stuff. I think, like,
You really
there are
have,
cults.
a great
Yeah, like,
imagination.
yeah, like there are these cults, these cults that come about, like Scientology and all that, satanic cults. You won't believe it. I have actually done the research by joining a group for a short time, because I wanted to know about it. I know, and when I write, it has to sound like, I have come across that kind of a person or people or experience. And when I write about it, it it's sort of, like, it's recreating that atmosphere, the ambience that I have felt. I hope it gets through. I hope a reader feels it also. That, I actually did join a cult the way when I wrote the story on Halloween, a Halloween tale. Okay, how a young woman was
I am
into that.
interested to,
I became
to
sometimes
read your
interested in.
supernatural story.
No, I pretended. I actually pretended. I pretended to be interested in Satanism because I wanted to sometime. And I mean, that period is over. You know, that is, I think that's what writers are like. We want to expand to know. So that is how
you're freezing. You're freezing
like,
because of your slow
stories,
internet.
and then
Yeah, yeah.
again,
So can you read two poems from your book? At least two. Oh, you're reading.
One of them, I will read that. Okay. This poem was published in an anthology, but it's there. A poet about how a person is.
You have a poor signal. Sorry. Amrita, you have a poor signal.
I'll read louder.
Yeah, no, you had a poor signal. Now you're okay now. So please read it again.
I'm reading a poem called Divided, a Poet's Stance. Even I am divided. Left hemisphere, right hemisphere. My bodily controls pulled by dual strings. My father, so stern and manly. Mother, sweet and insipid. Father, so bombastic, yet weak. Mother, nerves of steel. Nature has an underbelly. What is on the surface is the denial of what lies beneath. Libido, passive aggressive. Love, war and peace. Eros and Thanatos. Mars and Venus. Voices within my head. You are whistling in the wind. Dreamer, be careful what you wish for. Not because it could come true, but because you know not what transpires, from simplest atomic fission to mushroom cloud, from genetic engineering to seeds of doubt, monstrosities abound. Demons making love to angels, human arise from such falls. Language, languorous displease, lagoons and lacunae, the blank revelations greater than the black bustling ants, crawling, abysmally clamorous, doing business. But doubt pools amidst certainties like stark white emptiness. We read life in between the lines, where divisions collide, unity in ink, the ilk of graceful collusion. Lend us the usurper's usury, the victims of acquiescence victorious, the imperialist inheritance, bloodless acquisition, the meiosis and mitosis of civilizations.
Fantastic. I want to buy your book.
This is Arivatachi, the previous book of poems, Helen. Okay, not the
How
short.
about your short poems? Do you have copy there? Can you share those poems with us? At least, yeah.
I have got most of my poems are long. Most of my poems are long. That is why it is better in a book.
Okay.
Eat up a lot of time. But I do have a couple of short poems. Let me see. I have written one on the Hamlet state of mind. It's a cleave. Okay. It's a cleave. A cleave means, I think you know, that you can read the left side alone as a simple poem. You can read the right side alone as a simple poem. And you can read both together. So I'll first read both together, then I'll read the left hand and the right hand side separately. Hamlet was the prince of indecision. You know, he could never make up his mind whether, you know, he should avenge his father by murdering his uncle, or whether it would be nobler to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. So I wrote this to follow a poetic pattern, a form. So
Okay.
let me. Too soon to act, much too late, I fear. Accept my fate, I must. There is no point in grief. There is no reason. I believe in no reprieve. To act in haste, far better to make no waves. Time's hand points its tail. Throw your cards upon the table. A poor hand you've been dealt. Look your rival in the face. Keep a nonchalant poker face. You will not be any less. One cannot do more than this. C'est la vie, one life to live. Exit with grace. This is the full poem. Now I'll read the left-hand side separately, and then I'll read the right-hand side separately. The left-hand side is, too soon to act. Accept my fate I must. There is no reason to act in haste. Time's hands point its tail. A poor hand you've been dealt. Keep a nonchalant poker face. One cannot do more than this. One life to live. Then the right-hand side, okay. This is a cleave means a division, right? So it's like both, ultimately all three poems must, same topic of indecision. Much too late, I fear, there is no point in grief. I believe in no reprieve. Far better to make no waves. Throw your cards upon the table. Look your rival in the face. You will not be any less. C'est la vie. Exit with grace. That's it.
You know, I can feel the cadence of your soul, the breath of your kind spirit, and the blossoming you. You're a promising artist.
Blossom is a very, like it's a very promising word coming from you because of Blossom's group.
I love that. So, I have a short poem that I wished also to read for you.
Yes,
actually, this is a kind of sad poem, but I cannot write as great as you. As you do.
No, Helen, sad poems are actually my specialty. I write a lot about loss and grief. I'm obsessed
with
about take away our loved ones from us, time. I write, half of Arrivederci is about that actually, the loss of my mother.
There's beauty also in sadness, right? So the title of this is Alone. I wrote this one when I was really alone in other place. I stayed there in just a few nights, and then I do not know that I was able to write this kind of poem. Alone. 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 I see the amber shadow, the mountain of hope in the glow. I hear the birds to me hymn a song in my gloomy evening. Alone, I see my lonely self, silently shedding my tears. Who owned me in this valley, accompanying me in Calvary. Alone, there's so much to remember. Things I disposed of that fester, the fruit of yesteryears. Oh, my spirit yelling in tears. Alone, I am speaking to my shadow. What's the essence of tomorrow? If tonight I watch the unseen moon, talking to my lonely heart alone. That's it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wonderful, Helen. I felt lovely lines. I felt them.
Thank you, thank you. It's sad.
The Calvary reference, loved it.
Who owns me in this valley, accompanying me in Calvary. You know that. So, but while I was writing that, I was, really yelling in tears.
No, I felt those lines, like you said, who owns me. It's very important to feel you belong also.
Yeah.
Especially for women, this feeling comes. It's very, very strong.
Yes.
Sometimes
ask questions.
Half of my poems are actually about sorrow, loss, grief. Like I wrote a line, forgetting is an act of mercy, that, it's tenderness that we give ourselves, because remembrance too much is more painful than actually, like.
That's true. That's true.
Sometimes being able to forget is a blessing. That I thought, I would share those poems because maybe, you would want something less sad. That is why. But in Arivida, many of the poems are only, talking about how my mother, how her passage, how it, leaves you desolate. It leaves you feeling so alone, like you said. Dear dogs.
So that's it. So it's really good to share poems, right? Then you can feel the support, you can feel the, the kind words, because you will be delighted to receive appreciation from other poets, because poets need poets to encourage them.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes, like, if you want to share your poem with your family, you may not be fortunate as I was to have a mother. My mother wrote poetry also. Her grandmother wrote poetry also. She was very accomplished. My great grandmother. Her poems were
actually runs in your blood.
But imagine if you don't have somebody at home like that, then you seek appreciation from the poets you meet, your friends. I was like very fortunate. And I mean, I joined Facebook at a time, 2010, I joined, and around 2014, I started interacting with a few poetry groups. And had I not come across with those poets, I would not have thought, like, oh, it's just a hobby. And it is for myself. It is
yes,
for
it fueled us. Their kind words, their kind appreciation really fuel us to do more, to write more. So how important for you, Amrita, is the support coming from your fellow poets?
I don't think I could do without them. Without their, without their acknowledgement that, I'm one of them, I wouldn't be able to. I mean, everybody needs atmosphere to survive in, on my own, in a desert island of, say, my routine, mundane, day-to-day household duties, or, everything, teaching my sons. That is one persona. That is one of my, duties. That is the dutiful aspect of me. But I think the other aspect of me, the creative aspect, the part of me which can express myself freely, it comes out only with my poet friends. I mean, if I recite my poems to my family members, other than my mother, she was a poet herself,
yes.
They would first say, has it been published? Is it in print? But I don't know whether they would really appreciate the feeling in the line.
I got your feeling.
Yeah. Are you that is the meaning. Oh, you won a jury award. They're happy for me. They think that we poets write to get that award. But what they also must, I think they get it in the end because they love us and they're close to us. But we can't help but write. That is our basic nature, which we have to write. And somehow, a fellow poet understands that. Like if I write a poem and somebody just says, I got your, that is such a reward that somebody got what I wanted to express. Like, I'm very alone also. I have felt like I have written about those feelings, like forgetting is a tender act of mercy in our head. But sometimes, we forget because you ask for empathy from the wrong people. They don't even get you. They won't even understand where you're coming from.
So because if they're not interested, they won't get you.
They won't get you. They're built differently. God constructs each of us so differently.
They will never be interested.
Their atoms vibrate differently. They are kind in different ways. They will not understand the kindness of that I am specifically looking for. Sometimes the page is more my friend. The pen is more my friend. The pen and paper in the poem is the therapy. And then, your poet friends when they get you, that is your best reward. When they get
Yeah,
what you,
that's
that is,
true.
uh,
Because we can feel, oh, we're good, we're great because she or he loves my poem, like that. So do you have any,
honestly,
any question for me? Have you prepared something for me?
I remember the question because I prepared a question for you, but I got the answer. That why do you as fellow poets so much? But I think I know why you want to help now. That was my question to you. Why do you want to help us fellow poets so much? By all these interviews, you take a lot of pain and trouble to organize the questions. The half an hour you spent almost putting me at my ease before the show. So that would be my real question. Why that? But I think I know why, but I would still like to hear from you.
You just love
Why?
to know the answer from me. Well, to help, even not a writer, if you are giving your help, it is a kind of sharing your precious time with them. It gives me excellent feeling that money can't buy. And helping poets to be heard throughout the world, as I have said, it is the essence of being a poet. I am not only helping poets, but promoting love and unity. That even though we have, different cultures, different beliefs, races, and even colors, but we have the same language of our hearts, right? And it is an excellent vocation to be a bridge, to bridge of love
Very,
and peace.
very true.
Yeah, that's it. So it's really,
This, this
I help these poets to be to to bring
it
their
is very,
voices. It's a great feeling that I consider money can't buy. That's it.
very. And what you're doing for the poets also, that is so precious that it will live on. You're creating a legacy actually. So it's very worthwhile, very commendable. My other second question was more in general, like
What
we
is
all
that?
we all have a guiding principle in life, no? So, Helen, what would be your guiding inspiration or principle in life? Because as a friend, I'm very interested. What makes how why is my friend like this, or what makes her the way she is?
Okay, no, for me there's no specific guide. I just act. I just want to be myself, only be true to myself and practice the golden rules. Because the golden rules that don't do others what you want others do unto you. So that's it. And live, what is important there is we have to live with humility, because if we are humble, it acquires wisdom, and that wisdom will never fail you of what you wish to do in life,
Oh, so
as
true.
the wisdom will serve you as your guiding armor.
Humility, wisdom, and of course being to yourself and making sure you don't harm another one. Do to others as you would like them to do unto you. Exactly my guiding principles. This is the I think the same way. When in doubt, do to others what you would want done to you. Don't, I mean, act otherwise, and don't harm. If you can, if you have nothing nice to say, walk away. But don't,
Yes. Yeah.
And also the other
Also,
thing,
never
humility.
through harsh words. Even you are being, step
Humility
of
is something, humility can be put on. Humility is a very dangerous thing. But
very important.
that there is a humility that brings wisdom. That really, really, true humility is not, you're not debasing yourself. You're accepting that other people can be your guide. They may know
That's
better than. That's a wonderful,
that's
beautiful. Now I feel like I felt this about you now. I feel I know it better. Exactly. I mean, what you said, this is so resonant.
because I'm not only saying this. I really encountered that in my life, and you
I get
know,
very
yeah,
hurt, very upset. I just say, there's a greater wisdom than mine. So be patient and leave it. Because
yeah,
you are not in control. So don't try to be, leave it. I mean, whatever
yes.
happens, it's like whatever happens does happen for the best. We don't know the final outcomes. So that is actually like what you said, that the wisdom of humility. The
Yes, it
other,
requires wisdom, and you will never fail because through that wisdom, as I have said, it will be your guiding armor. So,
to me, that and gratitude. I feel like to have an attitude of gratitude that you can, depend on it, you'll sleep better at night. If you're very,
yes, yes, you
it
will
just,
be
it
have
just comes.
peaceful being.
Like so many people could have turned their back to me or ignored me or turned a blind eye to me, but they chose not to. That, I mean, how blessed am I that they chose not to, that they chose to notice me. I really love this, this last time I asked you, I thought, you should think it a very vague question. I'm asking what's your guiding principle in life, but I'm so glad.
Just a simple question, but you can show the power of your words, and
That
that's
is
the essence of being a poet. And that's the good thing in this interview, because we are trying to discover ourselves. Because when you
true.
ask question, I have to ask question to
And
myself, what did
you're
I do
saying
in
the
life?
things that are playing in my mind. Amazing. I'm thinking them and you're saying them.
Thank you.
Like you're saying, poets,
Thank
we can ask each other these questions. It's amazing because normal day-to-day life interactions, you can't talk like this, right? I mean, people,
because
hey, I mean, is she living in this world? But it is only a poet, to get down and talk
because
about
I
things.
believe sometimes we have to be silent. Silence gives us also wisdom, because we are listening. We are listening to our inner being. And
Yeah.
if there's somebody who will persecute you, say something bad to you, you have to, be humble. Think
It is
first before
not
you.
being done to you, you have to be, you're not a victim. It is not being done to you. That is that person's life. Everything will unfold the way it is meant to be. I am a strong believer in, let it be. Like, there is this,
Yes. And I love your personality too. You're so,
I
you're so
don't know.
humble. You're so humble, and you're so sweet and kind.
Thank you. I'm little, like conflicted. I always, I feel like there's a lot of growing to do. I mean, I really admire your maturity and poise, but for me, personally speaking, I feel like I'm still kind of a wild child. I'm still at this age. I should be ashamed of myself, but I'm
Because
still growing.
we keep on learning. We are
Yeah.
only trying to be good, but it's an innate of our being that we are human. We can never be perfect.
Sometimes
But
you learn
just
from
try
people.
just try to practice what is good.
Help. Sometimes you learn from a person who is not a poet also. I am going on praising my poet friends too. But then, the story I wrote, that the one which is called Where Was I? That evangelist, who I write about. Like, sometimes you learn, he doesn't have to be a poet, but you learn something from a person in life, like how another person has the fortitude to bear a sorrow, how another person tackles grief and is so dignified and so poised. You can learn so much because, while I love the beat poets, I love, the howl. That is the primal howl within every human being. We have to let it all out. We vent. If we don't vent, we'd fall sick and die. And also, there's a grace of bearing, fortitude to and I
Now your
feel
your signal is
every day.
now again
And very,
poor.
yeah,
So let me
Internet.
proceed to the next question. Do you have, or no, it's not a question. Do you have a message for those poets who are yet planning to publish their books? And I'm giving also your time to promote your book.
I have no, I mean, I'm so technically challenged and unsavvy for me to, advise other poets. But if you want to publish, then you start with a manuscript. I mean, take baby steps. Just like this is, I think, what my
I
publisher
like the
friends,
baby steps.
my publisher told me, Amrita, create a manuscript. First, when you have a manuscript, when you hone and polish it a few times, then you'll feel like on your own that it shouldn't sit at home. It shouldn't be a Microsoft Word document in your computer. Then you can send it out, no? And if you send it to publishers who are, guides, also mentors, they will be able to tell you what to do, whether it needs further polishing. You send it back and forth, get it edited. But the first thing to do is, you have to create a manuscript. So that is about, I mean,
Yes,
from
because nothing to publish if we are not writing.
see, I wrote in various groups, like I have poems in 20, 30 groups. When I form a manuscript, I had to actually do the hard work of going to each of those groups, reading those poems and deciding whether this poem is worth including in the manuscript or not. Then I built up 2 to 3 copies of the same manuscript. Then at the last moment, I had a nervous panic breakdown that none of them are good. I restarted it just barely 4 days before I was supposed to submit. The deadline was like, I think, was it 30th April? Now I'm getting a little unclear. Last year, my book got published in 6th May. I think on 26th April, I restarted the whole procedure. And I remember one of the publisher friends I confided in that I don't think I'm good enough. So I have started from scratch and building the collection again. So he told me, you're very courageous. I said, no, but if I send my poems to the world, I want not to have any, mistakes or discrepancies. Like, why did I choose this poem? It is ultimately, everything I do is for myself, right? I write the poems because I felt something. But when I'm sending it to the world, I have to consider the reader also, that how can the reader jump from a poem about sorrow to a poem about joy to a poem about I wrote about a monkey also. So, and also, if you put 3 or 4 sorrowful poems one after another, how does the reader feel? I mean, you just depress the poor reader. So, I mean, suppose he sat down and I am not a published, well-known poetess. Mostly my friends are buying my books. How will my friend feel? Oh, Amrita is writing one after another sorrowful poem. Give her a break. I think of the reader. So that is why I revised my manuscript at the last moment, that too many sorrowful poems should not be clumped together. There should be some joy. There should be some hope. And then in between, put in a few surreal poems, in a few comic poems. I don't know if I did it right or wrong, because it's my first book. But again, Helen, maybe mummy's guidance, it's an instinct. I don't know, but that is, you have to be sincere, that you want to send it to the world. You have to consider the reader, not just as long as you're writing for yourself, fine. Be selfish, write for yourself. But when you're sending it out into the world, then think about the person who will read it. That's what I feel. I don't know.
That's true. So, can you promote your book now? I'm giving you the time.
So can you tell me what you mean when you say promote my book? Meaning,
no, where we can find your book? How can we order your book?
It's on Amazon. Yes, it's on Amazon. I've sent the links to you, but how do I now show the links? I'm not
or you just Amrita Valan.
Yes, Amrita Valan, and in between pauses. That is my latest offering. It was out on Diwali Day in November. It's available in the market in US, UK, Australia, Japan, European Union. Only not in India and South Africa, but then my editor is working on it. He says that he's looking for options to make it available in India soon. So I don't know if how to show the links on screen.
Yeah, I understand. But
I don't.
anyway, just searching Amrita Valan, it will,
Amrita Valan, the book name, but actually the link is there. I mean, I don't know. Shall I hold up the links to the screen? Would that help?
no,
Or
no, no, no.
I
If
don't know
there's
how.
someone interested, they may contact you or they may contact
I
me.
have sent all the links to you in that little write-up
Yeah,
I sent
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So
I
when you post this, if you put the link, maybe that will work. That could
I
work
saw that. I
possibly.
saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. So maybe when you are posting this interview, if you post the link also, maybe that will work, Helen. I
So,
hope because
congratulations for that,
thank you. I'm very
success.
grateful to you for this interview, Helen, because I am also racking my brains. How do I promote my book? Because I'm like a very small time author. I'm not like a very, like this is one of my very
That
first
is the
words.
cover of the cover of your book.
The 17 stories means it's a read. Like anybody would get some time to pass, would be able to read my stories. And some of the stories may strike a chord. May the Indian urban experience of a young woman. Next book I will be writing about a more mature woman of my
I'm
age.
so
But
interested because it's a short story. It's different from poetry, right? So
this
I
book
love
of short stories, this book of short stories that I have written, it is more about the young Indian woman. It is more, most of the stories are in the romance genre of, young college students or young working women. A poet like me, one of the stories is about a poetess like me, or a would-be poetess, aspiring poetess. And it's an amalgamation of different experiences, different people I have come across, some of my own personal experiences, tweaked, of course. So it's like it could be a nice read, afternoon read or a
I
evening
can
read
feel
time.
that. I can imagine that.
It's like a woman might want to curl up and read a few stories. It wouldn't be. I am not yet tried my hand at anything very highbrow or intellectual where stories are concerned. Where poems I experiment, I try. Not all my poems should be very straightforward or simple, but it's something leave to the reader's interpretation. But where my stories are concerned, I'm very simple. So if you want or get your hands on a copy or something, I mean, I wonder, whether young women would relate to it, whether they would like to read it. So it would give me immense satisfaction.
Now, before I will be asking you a message of encouragement to this show. But before that, I will read another poem. Um, this is the title of this poem is No Regrets. Okay. My arduous journey of a lifetime, having no choice or the right to refuse. I was born to live and love for this mission. It's sometimes so heavy yet full of adventure. In this journey, I have no way of turning back. I have to move, going on, and search my luck. As things get hard and the tough situation I face, it's just a sign that I am now in a tunnel of success. One day I will wake up reminiscing wonderful memories, wonderful experiences of pains molded by its magical spices. I see myself smiling with things I remember from the past, the sweets of my teens and things which were good and bad. I can see myself thanking even to the dark moon in my night. I thank the tears that cleansed my lens for me to look bright. I thank those unfaithful friends leaving me a great lesson. And I thank the tears of life visiting me for a good reason. I have learned a lot what life teaches me in this journey. To humble myself, to be grateful in all things and be merry. The measurement of success is the joy of heart, not the wealth. The best thing is to smile with the pain and have no regrets. That's it. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, worthy poem. Really, I was deeply moved to listen to this. Shows so much what your inner workings of your mind.
Actually, it's an old poem. It's from my first book, Speaking Heart, Volume 1. It's about time. Susan Joyner Stamp published it,
So
2016.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know that she's a publisher. Can you imagine that? Great.
Yeah, here, Interior Layout by Susan Joyner Stamp of
You
Wildfire
have
Publication.
several books published by her. You have
Yeah,
several books published by her. Wow.
I'm thankful that you know her. And she's very sweet and nice, and she truly loves when she loves all out. So,
You know,
Amrita, can you?
poems,
Yes,
no, I was just saying her poems reflect that she truly, loves and feels and believes with what conviction. It comes out in the poetry.
that's true. So, what's your message of encouragement for the Mother Eagle Blossoms show? Because it's a new, fresh.
Go,
You're the 12th
okay. Go
person that
from
I
strength
interviewed.
to strength is my best wishes for you. Go from strength to strength, and also be like a mother eagle, shelter and guide and protect. Many young poets and poetesses would be indebted to you for the eagle. The image of the eagle is so protective, it's sheltering, very noble.
Who
And
knows how to nurture her
yes,
youngs.
yes. The name is very, it's very auspicious. I feel this name, Mother Eagle Blossoms. The wings shelter and protect, that
Oh, it's here.
give guidance always. That is what I wish, that you have great success in molding many poets and giving them guidance.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
You're
much. And
welcome.
thank you for your time. I consider this interview a
I'm really
successful
overwhelmed,
one.
and I don't know how to express it, because really very overwhelmed. This was very incredibly valuable to me. This whole interview, I came to know you also, and like you said, this friendship may continue. I wouldn't want to do just one interview with you and then it's over. That wouldn't be nice. Like,
Likewise, I am so happy also to,
poetry we express very well on paper, but in real life, sometimes it is difficult to express yourself openly. That feelings, but I'm really truly feeling very overwhelmed right now. It's so
and I am
wonderful.
so happy to see you that you're so
It is so,
natural.
I cannot express.
You told me that you are
Why
not,
did I poem about you? That is probably the only way I would be. I don't know. It's very,
because,
it's
you told
easier
me that
on
you
paper.
are camera
It's
shy,
easier on words. Yeah, it's easier on words than, yeah. Little bit camera shy is definitely there.
but you made it so natural.
I did. That's like I told you, it's supposed to happen. Maybe it's meant to be. That's why. Otherwise, how all these years, I skipped without doing a single Zoom. And suddenly, I think it is all this lockdown, because my son's classes are all on Zoom and Google Meets. I came to know about these things only in this
At
2020.
least now you have tried. So thank you. And it's my great pleasure to have you in my show. And may God bless you and your family and all your undertakings. And
And
keep shining. Keep shining. Thank you. And may I say bye for now.
bye. Bye for now, Helen. Bye bye.
Bye.